Hey, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, fanboy supervillain. And today we're going to be talking all about Sonic Rumble, the upcoming mobile Sonic title. That serves to be kind of like a Sonic version of Fall Guys. A massive, competitive, multiplayer experience. And it's about time that Sonic got something like this. I've been wanting something like this for quite a while now. Now, I have spoken about this game before, back when previews of this project first leaked and it was called Sonic Toys Party, and as expected there was a lot of placeholder imagery in those initial leaked previews. It was very strongly clinging on to kind of a Toy Story-esque aesthetic. Since that initial leak, we had the announcement of a closed beta test consisting of sessions over the course of a weekend where testers could play the game and offer feedback in the Sonic Rumble official Discord server, and, well, it's an official Sonic Discord server. You can imagine how that ended up. I think we know by now that official Sonic Discord servers are not a good idea. Sega, Sonic fans are kinda terrible. Don't make yourselves complicit in that. And this beta test was announced with a trailer, with the game now being dubbed Sonic Rumble. So that's what today's video is all about. My first impressions of this Sonic Rumble beta test, and how I think the game is shaping up, as well as some ideas on how to improve. Subscribe, patron, you know what to do. I won't take too long there, but I do want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has donated to me over the past couple of days. I've been hit with some pretty nasty expenses recently. I'm in a bit of a financial hole, and I am in the process of looking for work. So again, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that has donated so far. Really appreciate this. You guys are the best. So let's start off with the trailer for Sonic Rumble's beta. We've got some very nice CGI pre-rendered stuff with these little Sonic amiibo-looking figures. Before we get our first official look at the gameplay and, oh dear. So what's actually in the video here looks fine. There's not a lot to go by, but it looks fine. The problem is, that performance is atrocious. What is that, like 12 frames per second, if even that? I don't understand why recently Sega are happy to make some of the worst possible first impressions. Remember back when we got our very first look at Sonic Frontiers' gameplay and it was just someone aimlessly walking about, occasionally tapping the boost button, and it just looked like a very aimless experience? And now we've got this trailer where just the gameplay is chugging. Guys, first impressions are important. And what this trailer tells me is that the game's performance is going to be terrible. Is this really how you're going to curate this first impression? That's a really, really bad look. But it's made more baffling by the actual beta itself. Now, I'm going to throw my hands up in the air right now and say I haven't actually played this beta. You're not getting a hands-on preview from me. For you see, I had the audacity to be born outside of the USA, so I didn't get to take part in the beta test. I did try. I signed up. I had the intention of using a VPN and then using the Google Play storefront from my Sunset City account, which is a US account, but no. I did not receive the invitation, so it didn't happen for me. Now, I'm not going to claim that this is an inclusion problem. While obviously I am a bit bummed out I didn't get to try it out, this is all pretty common stuff. It's a beta test. It is going to be isolated to a specific server. It's about getting feedback. This is not like a big release. When the game actually does come out, we'll all be able to play it. Fortunately, though, my good friend and Sunset City podcast co-host, Gotta Be Frank, let me pick his brain about it and was kind enough to send me his footage for this video. Also, guys, Gotta Be Frank has been feeling a little discouraged by some of the lower performance of some of his videos and streams have been lately. So if you guys would go over there and send him some love and tell him Channel Pup sent you, that would mean a lot to me. He's a super friendly, chill, and honest dude, and I want to see him recognized for that. And there's another interesting thing. Initially, they prohibited streaming gameplay for Sonic Rumble, as this is a closed beta test. This is, normal stuff. However, shortly before the first gameplay session, they suddenly sent out an email to say, you know what? You can stream it. You can show this stuff publicly. I think they realized that this was probably good publicity for them, but also it does speak to the confidence in this beta test, that they are happy to show it to the world extensively at this stage. Promising stuff, promising. So, was this confidence warranted? Well, that's what the rest of this video is for. Now, this does appear to be one of the first instances of the Sega Rovio acquisition bearing fruit. As if I have heard this correctly, this is a Rovio project. I believe it was Rovio that developed this one. Maybe it's a collaboration between Rovio and one of Sega's other branches, I'm not sure, but we do know that Rovio are involved in this. Now, I am hoping that the acquisition of Rovio did not come at the expense of Sega Hardlight, because we do know that there were some cutbacks over at Sega Hardlight, which is terrible stuff. I hate how the gaming industry operates lately, but I am pleased to see that more is coming of that Rovio acquisition than just Sega owning the Angry Birds IP. I really hope it doesn't come at the expense of Sega Hardlight, because Sonic's mobile games are consistently excellent across the board, and they have been developed by Sega Hardlight. I think this is a testament to the talent behind the team at Sega Hardlight, but I do feel it speaks to Sega's project management being generally better when it comes to smaller projects, where I think larger games are something they do need to improve on. That's not me saying I want the next mainline Sonic game to be a smaller title. No, I do want them to get bigger, I just want them to get better at being bigger. So with Sonic Rumble, yes, we have got Sonic clearly aping yet another trend, albeit one that is surprisingly old and less talked about now. So it's Fall Guys, and maybe it's a good thing that the dust has generally settled on Fall Guys, as now Sonic can kind of rejuvenate that market. And as I've said before, Sonic does suit Fall Guys like a glove. 3D obstacle courses with a character that requires some skill to control and can otherwise be a bit unruly. Yeah, that is 3D Sonic in a nutshell. Now, my first impressions of all the streams that I watched were that the game's presentation really jumps out at you. It is absolutely superb. While there are instances of frame dropping, the frame rate is nowhere near as bad as it was in the announcement trailer. I do wonder how well optimized the game is going to be, if other people maybe had worse or better experiences, but from what Frank has played, there were some frame drops, but it was nowhere near as much as in that announcement trailer. Visually, I think where this thrives is that the art direction knows what it wants to be and absolutely aces it on all counts. This is meant to be a little toy Sonic running through playsets. And there's even a little story as well. You got a little opening cutscene, and it's quite basic stuff, just illustration with text, where Dr. Robotnik has sent Sonic a little toy as part of a game to play. And this is how Robotnik plans to crush Sonic once and for all. Just roll with it. And while it is kind of set up within the main universe, it is nice to see Sonic in a different art style for a change, with brand new character models. These guys look great, and I could imagine them having Jakks Pacific make a toy line of this game. Yeah, I'd buy some of these. But also, all of the locations, they look like toys. It doesn't just look like it's made of plastic, they actually look like toys that could exist, that you could actually buy. Maybe they could have pushed it a little further by giving, Sonic and his friends, little articulation joints, but I suppose from an aesthetic standpoint, this does look nicer and still fulfills that sort of toyetic look. But then complementing that, we've got the music, which sounds wonderful. We've got brass covers of existing tracks, as well as a few new ones. And it is very saxophone heavy. I'd probably say that the saxophone is the leading instrument on this soundtrack, and I think the saxophone is a great instrument, and it's one that does suit Sonic very well. One of my favorite Sonic tracks that isn't like a vocal track is from Sonic Adventure 1, and that's, I think, Be Cool, Be Wild, and Be Groovy. It's the snowboarding music, and it consists of, electric guitars and saxophones, and it's just something that screams Sonic to me. It's always been kind of all about that rock-funk fusion.
Okay!
Now, this isn't outright that. This is more just kind of brass band stuff. But again, I think it absolutely suits the kind of party game atmosphere. And I much prefer this to that very synthy style of music that you'd get in Fall Guys, or I guess the very synthy cover of Splash Hill that we heard in the leak. What I have noticed, though, is that while all of the stages get their main theme remixed, any tracks by Dreams Come True are once again omitted and substituted. So Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone, they don't have their original track. Or at least they don't even have a cover of those original tracks, because the rights to those are owned by Dreams Come True. Green Hill gets a brand new track, which seems to serve as kind of the theme for the game, which is fine, because it's kind of, I guess, the home world of Sonic. And then Chemical Plant Zone, you've got a cover of Chemical Flow from Sonic Forces, which was the track used on Chemical Plant in Sonic Forces. And it's so nice to hear that track given new life with contemporary arrangement. It goes to show that it's actually a really great track. I must admit, I would have really loved it if Green Hill could have had Faded Hills from Green Hill, but, this is still fine. This is still a good track. And I gotta say, this is the areas where I feel like Sonic Rumble is improving on Fall Guys, is that it just has more character to it. These locations, these environments have more character and charm to them, and the music has a lot more charm to it as well. It's definitely complemented by the Sonic world building, which is what I feel like more of these Sonic projects that clearly ape other projects need to do. Like, for example, if you want to make a Breath of the Wild adjacent Sonic game, you gotta show kind of how Sonic can complement Breath of the Wild's gameplay formula, rather than just putting Sonic in a Breath of the Wild coat of paint. That's not to say it should be returning levels all the time, because god no, I don't want returning levels as mainline Sonic staples, but at least have it feel like it could exist in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog. Speaking of which, okay, yeah, we've got a lot of returning zones here. So you've got 4 of which from Sonic Generations, 1 zone from Sonic Colors, and then 3 zones from Sonic Lost World. You've got Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, Seaside Hill, Starlight Carnival, Frozen Factory, Silent Forest, and Lava Mountain. And I'm not gonna bellyache about returning zones in a game like this. It's very different to the situation we had with Sonic Frontiers' cyberspace stages. In this case, it's not just lazy asset reuse like the cyberspace stages. They've all been given brand new assets to suit the toy art style, and these stages have very clearly been chosen to match the gimmicks within the gameplay, but it's also to push brand recognition, as this is said to be a free-to-play title targeting a massive player base. It's effectively a marketing chip for other Sonic media, something easily accessible that showcases what the series is all about. And from what I'm seeing, Sonic Rumble absolutely succeeds at this with flying colors. If I'd played this game, I would want to buy a Sonic action figure. I would want to check out a Sonic comic, and I would want to play a proper Sonic game. So I think this is just a really good move across the board. But then there's what you do in these stages. There is a selection of different unique game types, with the main one kind of being a race to the finish kind of thing, where you're just running along an obstacle course, kind of as you would a Sonic level. These are A to B obstacle courses, but sometimes you've got the goal of collecting the most rings, or there are other gimmicks that are dependent on the stage, such as, say, bouncy clouds for Sky Sanctuary, or rising lava in Lava Mountain. Once again, yeah, the level theme is being used in tandem with the actual gameplay itself. Rather than, say, Sonic Frontiers' cyberspace stage was like, this stage is a Green Hill stage, this stage is a Sky Sanctuary stage, but none of it really has anything to do with those locations. They have also brought in the side-scrolling sort of 2.5D element, in that you do have like a side-scrolling survival course where you're being chased by a chopper badnik. And again, while I personally would prefer that we avoid putting 2.5D side-scrolling in 3D Sonic games, I think in this case here, it's okay, because again, it's kind of a gateway to other Sonic media. You might play that bit, decide that's your favorite, and then decide to go off and buy Sonic Superstars or something. Just a little bit of all the different things that made this franchise great over the years, put into this one little package and kind of reverse engineered into a Fall Guys clone. And then you've got more arena-style stages. You've got this ring arena brawl where you have to collect as many rings as you can, and you can bonk your other opponents to get rings out of them. You've also got like an ice rink challenge where you have to avoid ice blocks and free your teammates from ice blocks. So you got some team stuff as well. There's like a team golf thing where your team has to push giant balls into holes. And then you've got this Death Egg Robot arena where you have to avoid being knocked out of the arena by the Death Egg Robot. There's a decent little variety here. Could there be more? Yes, and I will suggest some ideas toward the end of the video, but this is a neat little selection, and there are different, like, courses within courses as well. There's more than one way to race in each zone, so there should still be a fair bit of content here. Then there's the cosmetics, and obviously with a big multiplayer game that can host like 30 players, you're going to want a lot of different cosmetics so you can tell each other apart. And with that, there are a ton of unlockable skins of pretty much every Sonic character that Sega haven't pruned out of their sacred canon yet. And more niche titles like The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Riders get some love here. Granted, I do hope there'll be more to come, as for example, with Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, you get Detective Tails and Business Tycoon Rouge, but you don't get like Sonic in his little captain's outfit, or Amy in her Flapper Girl journalist outfit. I'd definitely like to see more done with that game. Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is a great little game. I love everyone's little outfits in that, so I would love to see more of these guys make it over. You've got the Babylon Rogues, which is cool, but you've also got Amy's Rider's outfit, which is Amy's best outfit, to be honest. The Sonic Adventure 2 shoes get repped once again after making a comeback in Sonic Frontiers. Great to see. I'm hoping that's going to become a mainstay going forward, because I really love the Sonic Adventure 2 shoes. There are Sonic Dash skin variants that get some representation here, such as like the pirate outfits for Sonic and Shadow, or Knuckles' treasure hunting outfit. Interestingly, while Zavok is present, and he also gets a crystal variant, the other Deadly Six members are nowhere to be found, so maybe there's another idea for how they could populate this selection, is add the other members of the Deadly Six. I find it kind of strange how they just kind of ran with Zavok. None of them were popular, but like, why Zavok? Fleshing out this list even further, there are some Forces custom avatars playable, but they are presets. They're not, like, customizable like they were in Sonic Forces. But it is cool to just see that get represented. There's also different emotes that can be unlocked and bought, and if I understood Frank correctly, their usage can also net you rewards and bonuses. There are different little gestures and dances that the characters can do. You can get different effects as well. And it is worth noting all of this is purely cosmetic. It doesn't appear to have any kind of different ability or advantage. But still, I'm loving how we've got lots of playable characters in Sonic again, and I'm loving how much they're leaning into different skins and variants. And I'm hoping that will carry on more in the mainline titles as well. Now, there are a couple of things that I am a little skeptical about, despite me singing the praises of this thing. Play value is one of them. A lot of my friends that have played it have said the game will be fun for a short time, but won't necessarily bank individual retention, as courses could become a little repetitive. So maybe a little expansion could do this some good before the game comes out in the winter of this year, but it is very late in the game to be expecting anything quite on that level. But I also think the game maybe clings just a little too closely to Fall Guys in terms of controls. While elements like the homing attack, boost, and dash pads are present, which do separate it a little bit from Fall Guys, the ground speed is pretty low, being most comparable to Fall Guys. They could separate this from Fall Guys a little more by upping the speed just a little bit and maybe go for a momentum approach, complementing the unruly nature of this kind of game. Maybe have it so that you can roll into your opponents or spin dash into your opponents. So for things I hope to see, or things that could expand things up a bit, more zones would be one of them. If, as I mentioned, maybe they could use some more expansion. Maybe we could have some Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 representation, or Sonic Unleashed. Maybe some classic stages that haven't been adapted into 3D yet, like Mystic Cave Zone. Or maybe another game mode. How about a maze? A maze set in the Labyrinth Zone with rising water. Maybe have some water-based zones where, water is a part of the challenge. This could mean that the characters are a bit more buoyant, so the gravity's a little bit different. That could make things very interesting. You could even maybe implement, competitive versions of the special stages throughout the year, such as destroying the UFOs from Sonic CD, or maybe the half-pipes could make a return. Or maybe a multiplayer version of Red Sphere, Blue Sphere. That would be cool. Then for skins I'd actually really like to see, I'd love to see Chaos get represented in some form. Mephiles, Infinite, the IDW cast, so Surge and Kit, Tangle and Whisper, Lanolin, etc. Perhaps some Scrapnik Island themed skins for Sonic and Tails. Chip would be great to see. Trip, Mighty and Ray, Fang and the Hoodlums, or maybe have some Boom cosmetics for the main cast. Sonic with sports tape and a scarf or something. But for my final main kind of, not concern, but I guess just qualm, why is this just a mobile title? That's how it's being promoted right now, is that this is a mobile title, but why just that? If this is a big online multiplayer competitive experience, why can't this be a free-to-play game on consoles too? This looks like the kind of thing that would be absolutely ideal on Switch. I mean, Fall Guys is available on all the consoles and on PC, so why shouldn't this game be? It's kind of weird how Sega just kind of wall off some of their best content behind mobile phones. At least this isn't Apple Arcade exclusive like Sonic Dream Team, but I think this would be right at home on consoles. And it does have controller support, as Frank played it with a controller. I just think playing it with a controller and an iPad or a phone is just a bit cumbersome. I don't like the idea of having to hook my controller up to my Android phone and then play it on an Android screen. I don't know. But on a whole, I must admit that this game just overall looks really, really good. I was saying that this isn't necessarily targeted at Sonic fans and that this was more to get newcomers into it, and yeah, that is still very much the case, but as a Sonic fan, this excites me. It's a chance to play Sonic with friends online. Why haven't they done this sooner? Sonic with a competitive element is just such a no-brainer to me. But as a fan, I'm also enjoying the little references to other Sonic games throughout the skins. I don't want them to keep bringing back Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone, but look at it. It's a playset of it. That's cool. I just think this game looks neat. and I'm looking forward to playing with the boys over at Sunset City. Too bad I'll have to wait till winter, but it is what it is. So guys, what do you think? What do you think of Sonic Rumble? Have you had the chance to play the beta test? What do you think of how this game is shaping up? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to the Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, with a special shout out going to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. They are RT0, Kalex, Hypes, Glad Goku, Dare Denny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, Ken K, Dazzle Fizzle, I've sent my evil clone to find some helium, Cyrus the Skeptic, Biotin, oh no, I've used up all the helium, what am I meant to do now? And Vera Wild. Thank you folks so much for your generosity, and to all of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Get out of here.